December to January. Wow, just wow. I have a lot to say. Where do I start? So I just want to start at the start. I was upset because I didn't get the job at Due South. I applied for houses in Katanning where my parents are because there was no other houses around. Thankfully, I didn't get the house there. I don't want to be in my parents' town in the middle of nowhere. Near the end of December, I went down to Bottom Pub in my town to see my friend Brittany. There was an incident on that night. Brittany had been wanting quit for a while. Her boss was charging her $300 PW for rent and only paying her $350 PW for working there. She was being bullied and treated like the black sheep in the workplace because she was the only one there with a heart. Also, one of the other workmates allegedly took her car keys, and went to Kendenup with it. The workmate put the keys behind the bar. Brittany was really upset that someone could do that. That was one of the tipping points before she quit. So the incident was outside the back of the pub near all the units. One of the units the workmate that took the keys lives in one. That was the unit the incident happened at. My friend Brittany was working that night. She had a bad feeling not to work. There was a crowd of young people being rowdy. One young woman was either pushed or she fell through the window at the unit. She had a huge slash on her chest and glass embedded. She couldn't breathe properly. One of the guys at the scene came rushing in to get Brittany to call an ambulance. He looked distressed. Brittany called the ambulance and was following instructions. She got told off by her boss for leaving the bar, but she was trying to help the hurt lady at the back. When Brittany got off the phone, she was traumatized and almost crying. Her boss told her to shut up while you said go back to work, and made her work all the way to midnight. One staff member let her have 5 minutes to go cry before he left. Her boss would rather let someone die than call an ambulance. She has no empathy. What I've recently found out is she told a lady who worked for her once that had to go to the hospital that she had to work and cancer won't kill her. That lady quit on the spot. I'm glad I didn't decide to work there. My boss is less toxic than her. The next day, Brittany asked my boss if she could live and work at my pub. I helped Brittany by letting her use my black shoes so she was presentable. Brittany was really nervous asking. She finally did it and my boss took her in. Now Brittany is living at my pub and working here too. Today, the 2nd of January, IGA contacted me about working there for some hours, but I had to turn it down because my boss is really controlling. She wants to dictate how much money I get each week. It's selfish, but I will let it go because she's letting Brittany stay here. My boss is making me lose opportunities and keeping me poor and struggling. I can't see a way out right now. I'm thinking if a miracle doesn't happen soon, then I will become a sex worker. What choice do I have? None. Either that or struggle. I was going to report my boss for underpaying way below the pay rate in Australia, and I was going to report other stuff too properly through the Fair Work Ombudsman. I can't now because she helped Brittany, which I believe she's only doing it because she's getting free work, because the rooms are condemned and mouldy. My boss is charging $100 PW each for us. She's only giving Brittany a few shifts to cover rent, so she's getting free work in a way. At least my boss is nicer than the other pub manager. Brittany is happy here. She has a side hustle to make money, so she doesn't need to depend on my boss. When Brittany moved here to my pub, she took away all the tension and ice in the air, which I am so grateful for. I feel like I can be myself more without being hated. The energy is a lot better with her here, so it's a blessing. It's so funny that she came here because a few weeks beforehand, we went to her friend's house and were jokingly saying she should live at my pub, and we did a yes or no tarot on Google, and it said yes, for she should move to my pub and work there. We didn't think it would actually happen, so we're both shocked that this all happened and so quickly too. So my friend Brittany and me have all our boxes at a friend's house still. We asked my boss if she can store our boxes for a bit more rent a week. Now we just need to get our boxes and put them wherever our boss will let us. All our clothes and important things are in the boxes. Brittany Dad rang me today to ask me to get my boxes out the shed at Brittany's friend's house because he's controlling her. Brittany's friend isn't allowed to talk to us right now because she is being oppressed by Brittany's dad and his son. She's together with the son and he's controlling who she can talk to. He won't let her hang out with us anymore. Brittany's dad used to live in that house, so he thinks it's still his property. He rang me instead of the friend about the boxes because he wants to cut her off forever from talking to us. I prayed for her. I asked for her to be freed from oppression. I will wait for the prayer to happen. I also pray that I can get out of oppression here. Amen. January 2nd to 10th, 2025. My friend Brittany and I went to her dad's old house at 3 a.m. in the morning to go and sneakily grab all her cats. We snuck around catching them while Brittany's sister-in-law was sleeping in the house. We took all the cats back to my pub. Brittany and I contacted a regular customer of ours from both pubs and asked him to help us with getting our boxes. Not too long ago, Brittany's sister-in-law left the house and moved to Perth with her partner. She didn't say goodbye or anything. Her partner is very controlling and oppressive. He doesn't want her to have friends. Before she left a key at the front. Me and Brittany used the key to grab some of our stuff. Brittany slammed her finger in her car door and had to go to hospital in Albany. She shattered her bone in one of her fingers. It needed operating on. I had to drive to the hospital the next day to let her out. When she first hurt her finger, she had to wait a few days to get the operation done because the hospital was full with hurt victims. That's why we needed a man's help to get our boxes. Before we went to get the boxes, Brittany's dad offered the house to me to live in, but not his daughter. I turned it down because he wouldn't give me a lease agreement and wasn't going to put the bond in a trust fund. I had a bad feeling about it, especially after he kicked his own daughter out when she had crutches back when she hurt her foot. So me, Brittany, and the regular customer, whom is also our friend, helped us during the night to go get our boxes. Brittany couldn't do much because of her finger. Brittany went inside the house, found the shed keys, and we got all our boxes and put them in our cars. We took a few trips. A few days later, Brittany's dad saw the boxes missing and said I could have been polite and asked permission to get them. We didn't ask him because he is so manipulative and tries to separate Brittany and me from being friends. He loves to play mind games and we didn't want him having any hand in helping us. The guy that helped us stayed upstairs with me overnight and we didn't do anything except talk until 5 a.m. He was really nice, but he does have player ways. Brittany put a stop to us seeing each other because she knows him better than me. He would go to the pub and say horrible things about his GF he was with at one point. He said he would leave her tied up to a tree and let her die. At that time I recall him saying that because I was there. Back then he was trying to get with me and I didn't know he had a girlfriend. He got exposed and went bright red. I did totally forget about that. He has cheating tendencies. I kind of fell for his charm and didn't see any red flags until Brittany brought up things that I forgot about. So I did end up sleeping with him the second night after getting the boxes. He became very clingy and was annoying Brittany, so he couldn't come here anymore. Also, my boss hates him. I feel so guilty because I felt like I liked him and I hurt his feelings by ending it. One night me and Brittany got drunk and were having fun on the balcony, and we realized that we are more similar than we already knew. She broke her arm when she was 5 and so did I. We both pulled our hair out and had a bald patch. We both have one hair that grows from our chin. We both are mind blown by the similarities. 2 days ago, I got a message from my boss at midnight with a screenshot of a security camera photo. The photo showed a cat on the pool table downstairs in the pub area. She asked, "Why are there cats in the pub area?" "They are Brittany's cats. Mine are stuck in the room I'm staying in." The reason her cats were out there in the first place is because my boss was playing a mind game with me. I asked her daughter not long ago to please don't let her siblings go through the door into the closed dining room downstairs. Just because I asked that, my boss decided to completely open it all up downstairs after asking for them to keep it shut and not go in there. Our stuff was down there at the time too, so we didn't want anyone in there. We shut the door when the pub closed and someone came here early the next day and opened it up. Then Brittany's cats went down there. I got a message yesterday, more like a huge paragraph of my boss ripping into me about cats being downstairs. One of her cats pooped near the pool table, so me and Brittany went down to clean it. My boss asked me to go downstairs and mop up more pee. She had a go at me for letting my cats out because she didn't know they were Brittany's cats. I took all the blame and said sorry. Brittany and I went back on the balcony that day and were praying to God to help us and to find a place for her cats to go. I messaged the neighbor next door to the house Brittany's dad lived in, and he said Brittany can leave her cats at his house. That worked out good, so we waited for the pub to shut, then snuck her cats out and back to the house. Yesterday, before we found a place for Brittany's cats to go, Brittany texted her dad and asked I could still take that house which was offered. Apparently he already put people in there. It wasn't meant to be. Yesterday, I decided to make a report against my boss with the Fair Work Ombudsman about my pay. I'm not sure what will happen. Hopefully we won't get kicked out because of retaliation. I haven't told anyone that I reported her. The reason I've done that is because she's keeping me stuck with minimum hours and won't let me make money from a second job. She's being selfish and controlling. She's paying me junior wage. I've actually changed my mind and cancelled the investigation with the Fair Work Ombudsman. I've decided to let God fight my battles for me. I want good luck or a miracle to happen so I can get out the claws and oppression of my boss. The 23rd of January, 2025. Recently I found out that me and Brittany have even more in common than what we realized. She had a Japanese fighting fish named Bluey, and I did too. We both broke our arm when we were 5 years old. At the cafe, I recently discovered that my toxic boss hired a 13-year-old girl. She pays the juniors in cash to get out of taxes, and so she doesn't go over the small business amount of employees too. Recently, one of the juniors put in a complaint to Fair Work Commission about bullying in the workplace. The reason why is because of one of the employees in the bar, whom is very aggressive and mean to us, had a go at him about pizzas not being made properly. So, my boss and the workplace are currently being investigated. I am hoping that my boss gets investigated thoroughly about other stuff too, like not getting paid properly. I have been praying for justice. I feel stuck here and used. I was going to make a report against my boss, but it's not the right time. I will wait for someone to quit, then I'll make a complaint to the FWO. For now, I'll wait and be very patient. I am starting up my cleaning business again, hoping to get a few jobs for some cash. The guy I talked about in the last segment of this book, well, Brittany and I got drunk a few nights ago. I said I'm not drinking and that I'm only going to drink on my days off. She used persuasion and I decided to drink. We got drunk, then decided to go to the Chinese restaurant. While we were waiting, we went to the bottom pub where she worked. While we were there was only one other customer, which was the guy. We caught up with him, then got our Chinese food. We also went to go feed Brittany's cats at the old house. When we came back to Top Pub, the guy was out the back peeing on a fence like a loser. We don't know why he was even there. For some reason we invited him up on the balcony for drinks. We said he could crash here for the night in one of the beds. He crashed in my bed. He wanted to be next to me. We didn't have sex, but he played with my vibrator on himself, which was funny and fun. I went to sleep because I was super drunk and had to work the next day. He became really emotional like a yo-yo, so I ended up blocking his number. He became toxic and started manipulating me and using God as an excuse to control me. That's a no for me. I do miss him though. We had a lot of chemistry. He was so cute. I cried when I blocked his number, but I had to do it because we couldn't have a relationship, and I felt ashamed being seen with him because he's a loser. But I loved him for some fucked up reason. The 29th of January, 2025. On Australia Day, Brittany and I went to have drinks at West Cape Howe. We went for food, but there was no food due to being a public holiday. While we were there, we were discussing how our boss cut our hours and is playing mind games with both of us. We had a few drinks, then decided to make 2 anonymous reports about our pay. We're not getting properly. So we decided to upload anonymous reports to the Fair Work Ombudsman. After we had done that, we both were nervous and became scared about our future. There's no houses to rent in WA, and no jobs here. We were discussing if we should move to Townsville in Queensland because there are lots of jobs and houses there. On Australia Day, after West Cape Howe, we decided to drive to Albany and have food at a restaurant or a pub and treated it like our last meal because of our future. We went to 6 Degrees and had a feast. On the way, Brittany got pulled up at a booze bus. We were praying to God to let us through. I gave her some water really quickly, then she blew 0.004, just under the limit. We both thanked God that day, because it would have been double demerits. The police officer just said, "No more, okay," and let us go. So, my boss won't let me have a second job, and is cutting hours to control me, and I've decided to apply for a night job at IGA across the road without her knowing. Hopefully she won't find out. I won't apply for the tax-free threshold, or she will find out and be angry at me and probably kick me out. So recently I was going to make an official report to the FWO, but I withdrew it because it's not anonymous, although I'm sure there's a way of keeping it secret. So, Brittany and I did the tip-off anonymous report instead. I had already made one in the past and nothing happened from it. I hope these tip-offs will make the Fair Work Ombudsman investigate our manager and her dodgy payslips. She has me as a hospitality permanent, but on the same payslip it states that I'm a casual, and that's exactly what I said in the tip-off report to them. At the moment, Brittany and I are writing a list of things we will need to travel by car across Australia to Queensland. We will have no choice but to leave if my manager gets in trouble. She might declare bankruptcy, then we will get nothing. We need to save so we can go to Queensland. We're hoping to save enough by May. That's a good time to leave and is not too hot. I'm hoping that our manager will get loans out to pay back all her staff, but that is wishful thinking and I won't get my hopes up. The 1st of February, 2025. Today is the 1st of February, and not much has happened yet. I did forget to say though that recently I went through all my boxes, which are upstairs at the pub I live at, and took some stuff to the op shop so that I'll have less stuff for if I move to Queensland with Brittany. I've condensed all my boxes down to less than 10. I am mentally ready to move to Queensland because I feel like I don't belong in this small town anymore, if I ever did. Friends and people feel like strangers and I just can't connect with the people and environment here. I've been trying to lose weight again. Brittany is a bad influence, as in she likes to drink wine every night, and lures me into doing it too. Last night was the last straw for me, because I ate a whole bag of potato chips when I got drunk, and I want to eat healthy, so it really lowered my confidence. Today is the first day of a new month, a new slate. I couldn't believe my scales. 2 separate scales said that I weigh 90 kilograms. That is horrible for me. I need to get my body back to at least 70, ideally 65 kilograms. I'm not blaming Brittany though. She has helped me relive things that I should have experienced as a teenager, which I didn't get the privilege of. She's a fun person. I just have to set my own boundaries and decide not to join in drinking, or find excuses. I want to get myself back on track again. The 4th of February, 2025. My heart is beating really fast today. I went to my cafe shift today, and I talked to a work colleague about our pay and superannuation. We all aren't getting paid super. My boss Carrie heard us talking on the cameras because she stalks us and intimidates us. She sends us texts to do some work when we sit for a second. Brittany talks to my boss because they are close now. My boss told her she listened to me on the cameras today talking with my work colleague. My friend Brittany has been told to get her cats off the property, which they are, because the owner came back to do house renovations, and apparently my friend's dad wasn't allowed to have tenants there or cats. He had people there and making profit off of them. That's a whole other story. My friend is devastated and doesn't know where to take her cats. After work my friend and I had a glass of wine, and we prayed to God for a miracle, so now we're waiting patiently. The FWO were meant to send me some documents to give my boss, so that she will be forced to pay me out all the money she stole. They didn't send it through though. I didn't like the man on the phone. He was arrogant and didn't want to help me. I'll just ring them again in the future, and hopefully someone can help me. I rang the ATO to complain about not getting paid superannuation. I got hung up on twice by a robot. I couldn't get connected with a human, so I'm a bit annoyed. It feels like I can't do anything at all. I will pray again and ask God to fight this battle for me and for all the employees here. I might even talk to a lawyer. The FWO were meant to send me documents to hand my boss, but they still haven't come through, so I think the guy on the phone was sent from the devil. He didn't want to help at all. He was lazy. My boss is mad at me and she's mad at my work colleague for talking about our pay and our rights. Now I'm scared to face her even though she's the one in the wrong. Why was she sitting behind her phone listening to us talking all day? I really hope God and Jesus help me and my friend Brittany out of here, out of this hellhole. The documents were in my junk folder, but the information isn't helpful anyway. It's just telling me to talk to my boss and resolve it. My boss won't listen. She is unapproachable and bitchy. How am I meant to do that? I'm quiet, timid, and I don't like confrontation. I also have underlying trauma from past experiences, so I don't want to put myself in that position. I thought the FWO would be more helpful, to be honest. I feel lost and alone and now an enemy. You'll be surprised if my boss even gives me hours still after I was exposed for exposing her and her theft and dodgy behavior against all the staff working for her. The 6th of February, 2025. I had yesterday off and I went to Albany with Brittany to take our minds off of our work situation with our toxic boss. We had lunch at Dylan's on the terrace and went to Kmart to look at tents again, in case we get kicked out, and we went to Dan Murphy's to get some drinks. We were stressing so bad about today, and me facing my boss at work. I prayed for protection before I left for work this morning. When I got to work, the back door was already unlocked, so I started work. No one was there. There were piles of dishes for me to do, and heaps of jobs which my boss purposely left for me to do. At around 9 a.m., my boss Carrie came in and said hi. I apologized to her even though she should apologize to me. She talked down on me by treating me like a child. She said, "Will you do it again?" I said no. Then she said, "Good, you better not," and that's all that was said about the whole situation from 2 days ago. I had no closure about my superannuation or anything. She just shut me down. The whole shift at work was awkward. Carrie was being narky like usual. Brittany came in for some sandwiches, and she felt the tension in the air. She told me she could cut the air with a sword. Brittany and I listened to her say, while she was standing on the steps above me, "At least I have good customer service now." Then Carrie looked down at me crossing her arms when she said that. When I finished work, Brittany and I sat on the balcony, and I had an alcoholic drink or two. We were discussing reporting her again to the ATO and Fair Work Ombudsman. Brittany's sister-in-law, and also friend, helped me to report my unpaid super to the ATO. I did it online and it took seconds. Brittany and I are worried that Carrie is installing secret listening devices upstairs, where we are staying. So we only feel safe talking and gossiping at West Cape How, a place we go for drinks and food. The 8th of February, 2024. God is a comedian. Oh my goodness, yesterday I went to work in the morning, and Brittany went to work in the afternoon. After she finished we had drinks, 1.5 bottles of wine between us. Brittany and I started driving to the neighbor's. She was driving house next to where her dad's old house was, because her cats are at the neighbor's house now, and the neighbor is looking after her cats. So, we started driving there last night to feed them, and we got halfway there, then Brittany got pulled over by the police. She went into full surrender mode and her face went pale white. The police pulled her over because she needs to pay her registration. They gave her a RBT. She blew 0.08, so the police told her to get in the back of the police car and took her to the police station. Brittany and I started driving to the neighbors. She was driving. When she got pulled over, it was 11:11 p.m. at night. I had to walk to the neighbor's house, where the cats are. Let's call the neighbor's name Jack in this book. When I got to Jack's house, he told me he was pulled over by the police in his friend's car. He was under the limit because he had a RBT2 on the same night. Jack said someone stole his car keys, so when he got pulled over, he also reported his car as stolen. So, the funny thing about this whole situation is, Jack lost his car, and it was stolen on the same night Brittany lost her license. Brittany let Jack use her car. When I went to Jack's, I fed Brittany's cats and Jack walked to Brittany's car with me a few streets away, then I drove the car back to Jack's for him to borrow. After I dropped off the car, I walked all the way back to the pub by myself. Brittany was waiting at the top at the balcony, and we were shouting cooey to each other. Today Brittany is hung over and stressed. She will get her license back on her birthday, coincidentally, on the 6th of April. We are both April babies, that's probably why we get along so well with each other. Another funny thing about yesterday was, I was just telling Brittany that we should ask Jack to use his washing machine and dryer, because we have been driving to Albany to do our washing. So, it feels serendipitous. The police laughed because of the connection between Brittany, me and Jack, because he was literally pulled over and they know him. They laughed because now Jack has a car to use. Jack messaged me today and said the police found his keys, so now I'm pretty sure he has his car back now. Before any of this happened, I kept seeing the angel number 6363. I decided to look up the Bible verse of that number, and it led to Matthew 6:33. But seek ye first the kingdom of God, and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. I won $27.20 lotto and paid $17 for it. I only made $10, but I was thinking about God when I won and I was happy with my win. I bought bird seeds to feed the wild birds on the balcony. My cats like watching them through the window. The 3rd of March, 2025. There's a lady that started working at the cafe with me about a few weeks ago, and we have been clashing since we met. She is an alcoholic and is very annoying and aggressive to work with. She has been touching me and my butt. I don't bother reporting it because nothing gets done around here. Yesterday I finally asked her to stop, so she did finally. She was pushing my buttons, asking ridiculously dumb questions constantly, and not following instructions, but keeps asking the same things again and again. Today it's a public holiday. We don't get paid holiday pay at all, by the way. It was incredibly busy, because we were the only food shop open today, apart from IGA. I called my boss to come in. She was not happy. She was watching us because she heard from my friend what I told her, that me and the new lady were arguing and not getting along. My boss tried to get me against my friend, for snitching. She can't break our bond. My boss had a go at me today, and ganged up on me with her mum, who helps out, and the new lady. The new lady was picking on me in front of my boss to push my buttons. So I told the new lady that I'll get to it, the task. My boss told me to lose the attitude, and that I am aggressive. I've been fine with everyone before this lady started working here. My boss took her side even though she was patronizing me and bullying me. The new employee had the audacity to ask me to buy her drinks at the bar after the whole ordeal, after work. My boss watches the cameras constantly, and she said she's watching us to make sure we get along at work. So, I felt like I had to say yes to buying her drinks. She's an alcoholic, like I mentioned, and she decided she wanted me to buy her more than one drink and moving the goalpost. She's taking advantage of me treating me as a pushover. I got home, upstairs at the pub, and started crying, and Brittany comforted me. She also told me not to buy the lady drinks. Later, the new employee came to the bar and spent 2 hours there. My boss let her use money from her future pay to pay for her drinks. My boss didn't agree with me paying for the lady's drinking habit because Brittany told her what happened. My boss wanted to talk to me, but I heard the new employee downstairs, so I waited a couple of hours. I went down to talk to my boss, who was gaslighting me the whole conversation and belittling me. My narcissistic boss decided she wants me to work in the kitchen at the pub on Wednesday night, so she can work on my attitude and communication, because apparently I'm aggressive even though I was just standing up for myself at the cafe. Now I'm getting punished and have to be around my boss even more often. Well, I am cleaning a house tomorrow, an end-of-lease clean for a client I found on a Facebook ad I made. Last week I asked for the Tuesday off so I can clean the house. She didn't even reply, she just got mad and complained about it to other people. Which also is unfair because I'm casual, so she has to give me days off, no questions asked. While I was talking to my boss, she said any other boss would have fired me today, which is completely disrespectful. I worked so hard today, because it was so busy. She never says that I do a good job. She is so negative. I spent all afternoon crying. I'm not sure I'll have energy to do the house clean then work 2 shifts on Wednesday for my boss. I feel depleted and she's a psycho boss. I'm so glad I have a friend, she has been so good to me. Brittany helps me a lot through things. The 12th of March, 2025. Recently my boss Carrie became nice to me, but little did I know it was a control tactic. So, what happened was my friend Brittany talked to Carrie, my boss, and told her I don't talk much to her because she reminds me of my mother. Carrie thought she would put me on a shift in the kitchen with her so I can apparently see that she's a cruisy boss. I did work in the kitchen for 1 shift after I worked at the cafe the same day. She was putting on a cool persona. She doesn't want me to see who she really is. When I went down and started my shift, I had a few shots of alcohol before going down to help with the tension, because it's so tense being around her. The shift went okay, and she told Brittany that her plan worked and now think she's cool. The other day I texted and asked Carrie for 1 day off a week to do my house cleaning business. She agreed to let me have Wednesdays off. Then, she decided that she wants me to clean the bar on Wednesdays. She doesn't want me to escape her claws. She doesn't really want me to have my cleaning business because then I could leave, which I will do anyway eventually. Just because I agreed to clean the bar, she had the audacity to make me clean the moldy cool room at the cafe yesterday. She made her daughter manager at the cafe. I asked her daughter if she could ask her mum if I could get my face mask because I don't want to breathe in the mold. Carrie told me I couldn't use a mask. I was so angry cleaning all the mold. It's way below my pay rates, and also it's not in my job description to clean a moldy cool room. My job description is to make coffee and food. After cleaning the moldy cool room, I got so angry and felt violated. She used my kindness against me and manipulated me. I told Brittany yesterday what had happened, and she said we should drive to Albany to get out of here for a few hours. She was angry at my boss for taking advantage of me and using Brittany to get me to like Carrie so that Carrie could dig her claws deeper into my back and assert more control over me. Carrie told her daughter, who then told me that she wanted me to clean the mold because the health inspector was coming tomorrow, which is now today. I believe and felt that she lied about that just to force me to clean the cool room. Well, because I thought it could be half true about the inspector coming, I decided to also pull apart the stove top and soak all the pieces in soapy water. Underneath was mouse poo and lots of grease. Nobody cleans the stove, obviously. So, if the health inspector doesn't really come, now Carrie will have to scrub all the stove pieces. That's what she gets if she's lying. Also, there were ants in the sugar syrup and ants around the coffee machine. I bought a hot chocolate on my day off the other day, and I remember telling Brittany that it tasted like ants. The annoying lady I work with at the cafe is getting less annoying and better at her job. I'm glad because I was ready to just quit and take a leap of faith into the unknown. Centrelink is making me go and have a face-to-face appointment tomorrow for the job seeker department. I got $0 from Centrelink this fortnight, so I'm contemplating getting rid of it. It's too much hassle and stuffing around just for an extra $100 a week. Now nothing. We'll see what happens tomorrow. They might help me find a full-time job, and maybe by some miracle a house too. The 28th of March, 2025. Today I'm writing in my book to let the readers know what's been happening. My boss Carrie made her daughter the manager at the cafe. Her daughter is only 18 years old and hasn't got much life experience. She has always been a hater towards me for no reason. She has set her whole family against me in the past, and they hated me for months, and I didn't know why they were being rude to me. I realized after Brittany told me that apparently I encouraged a creepy guy to flirt with her when I didn't do such a thing. She also didn't invite me to the male strippers. She invited my best friend, Brittany. They went together. After working with the boss daughter, let's call her Janine, on the first day of her being a manager, she started accusing me of a whole list of things I apparently did, including bullying. At one point I was shaking with anxiety and had to do some dishes and zone out a bit to calm my nerves. I felt attacked by her. I never bullied her. I did everything she asked me to do as a respectful person. She went home crying because apparently I was bullying her. She was the one bullying me. She threw my drink bottle out twice. She ignored me all day. Janine also had a go at me for stacking the chairs early, which was hypocritical because she did the exact thing the next day. Janine set her family against me again. Carrie, my boss, re-watched the cameras and saw that I wasn't bullying her. Janine was forced to apologize to me. She gave me the fakest apology and even said she's not sorry about throwing my bottles out, but she was sorry for being bitchy though. The next day, Janine came in the cafe with her nan to order some food. She acted like she wasn't ordering, so I just served her nan and got her order ready. Janine acted like a little brat and aggressively wrote down her order in handwriting, which I couldn't read. I went and asked Carrie what her writing said, and then Carrie yelled at me and told me to grow up and to respect Janine. I did respect her though. I just agreed with Carrie and continued on my shift. I felt so angry and outcast. I feel like everyone is against me. April 2025. April feels like a write-off month. It's been really unlucky for me. Recently, one of Brittany's customers, let's call him Brian, offered to help us out by letting us rent his house because he was moving. I was secretly praying to God because I don't want to live with Brittany. She is so messy, and her room looks like a dump. The smell coming from her room smells like the middle of Melbourne. A mixture of sweat and rusty metal. I'm so put off from living with her. If we ever have to live together, I would have to set boundaries and make a cleaning schedule so it will be fair for everyone. The plan was to move into Brian's house, but it didn't work out because he came into the pub and told my boss that we moved into his house when we hadn't yet, and that we quit working for her. He also rang me and told me the house isn't available now. He tried to sabotage our life and get us kicked out and homeless. Brian gave Brittany the keys to his house and his P.O. box key too. That was a false sense of security. He is currently on a 5-week cruise now, so we haven't given his keys back. Brittany lost the P.O. box key. It's probably sitting somewhere amongst all her junk in her room. Just after the 6th, which was Brittany's birthday, we were sitting out on the balcony having drinks and chatting. She said that in a few months one of her teeth will probably fall out, her top front one, because it's loose. Right after she said that tooth fell out while she was talking and fell into her hand. The power went out for a second as well, which was creepy. Brittany was shocked and me too. I was so freaked out I went into shock. She was worrying that she would get fired and kicked out because of it. I kept making her feel better, saying that won't happen. It's not that noticeable, etc. No one really noticed the missing tooth. Now she's back to her confident normal self. On the 12th of April, I collaborated with an old work colleague and opened a stall at the markets. She sold jewelry and I sold my handmade headbands and other things. I asked for the day off in advance. My boss didn't find out until last minute that I was going to the markets with one of her old employees. She was so angry and vented to Brittany about it. I didn't understand what the problem was. I can be friends with who I want. I'm an adult and can make my own decisions outside of work. I used my ABN, and the old work colleague helped pay towards the market's insurance. Overall, it was a good day. I made around $50, and the colleague made around $35. She wanted to organize doing markets again, but my boss wouldn't let me take the day off. I told the colleague how Carrie won't let me take the day off, and she stopped texting me and went cold. But she should know what I'm dealing with here. She knows what Carrie is like. Well, I guess I'll have to do markets on my own in the future. I'm thinking of trying to sell my stuff online instead, and this time hopefully it will work out. Anyway, if people are going to be unreliable and go cold with no communication skills, then I really don't want to collaborate with them then. I found out the other day that one reason Carrie is so mean to me is because in the past one of my aunties on my dad's side rang Carrie and told her that I'm going to destroy her business, that she needs to watch out for me, and also that my nan and pop didn't kick me out and that they were letting me live there to save money. She was trying to ruin my stability and my income. My family didn't even help me with a place to stay, and now they are trying to get me kicked out of the only safe place I have. The reason I found out about my auntie is because Carrie finally revealed it by telling Brittany. A few days before I did the markets, I asked Brittany if she wanted to go get a hot cheese sausage from the fuel station before she starts work. We decided that she should drive her car to the front of the pub, and we could swap driver seat. There were a couple of police driving past and they saw us swapping seats. They knew that my friend lost her license and was suspended, but they didn't catch her driving, so they had no proof that she drove. Brittany wanted to drive her car so that Carrie wouldn't get suspicious about her not having a license. After we swapped seats, I drove her car to the fuel station, and as soon as we stopped and got out, we were shocked because we saw a police car right behind us, and they got out and asked to breathalyze me and asked for my license. I did the breath test. They waited in the car while we went into the fuel station and bought our sausages. They were checking to see if I was going to drive. They told Brittany to be a good girl as a warning. We felt so lucky that we pulled over and swapped seats when we did. After working in the cafe on the 14th of April, I burst out in tears in the garden next to the cafe. I just couldn't keep it in any longer. The night before that happened, I had a panic attack and a mental breakdown. I emotionally cannot work at the cafe for that boss anymore. After my mental breakdown, after the 14th, I messaged my boss Carrie and asked her if I could take a week off as stress leave. She actually did agree to it, but only after the school holidays in 2 weeks' time. Carrie vented to Brittany about me asking for time off. She doesn't like giving people time off. She didn't even give 7 days off anyway, only 5. On the 16th of April was my birthday, and Brittany and I went to a local winery for lunch. I asked for a plate that was gluten-free, and the lady serving said she'll make sure it's gluten-free. After getting my lunch and eating it, she came out to give me crackers, which she forgot. I asked her, are they gluten-free, and she said no. Then I asked, what about the bread I just ate? She said, no, it's not gluten-free. I was shocked and angry. I asked her to go get me 2 bottles of water. She did. I drank it all, then went home. After about an hour of being back at home, I get a sudden hot fever and sat on the toilet because of stomach pain. Next minute I'm vomiting and having diarrhea. I vomited about 5 times. The lady wasn't that sorry, and it made me mad. I rang up the winery the next day and said what happened. They offered me a $30 voucher. It felt like negligence on her part. On the 17th I went to work and told Carrie and her daughter how the winery rang me and gave me a voucher. Carrie was quiet at first and was chopping food up aggressively. Carrie started having a go at me at 11:15 a.m. about being a celiac and overreacting. She implied I didn't really have celiac, and I made a big deal about it. I said I almost died and I'm grateful they gave me a voucher. She said I should have an EpiPen, and I said celiacs don't have EpiPens. She wanted to keep arguing. Carrie said, I get my coffee from there, how could you do this to me? She was making it all about herself instead of having empathy. She just kept going on and on how I did the wrong thing for standing up for myself, so I told her to stop. I don't want to argue. Then she went quiet and walked away. She vented about it to Brittany later, when she went to work at the pub that night. I thought about her attitude and thought she's unhinged, and I risk being kicked out, so I decided to chat with ChatGPT to see what options I have at escaping here. ChatGPT said I can contact the Albany Animal Welfare to find a foster carer for my cats, or Pets in Crisis RSPCA, to get them to look after my cats while I flee to domestic shelter, or something. I also want to get out of the condemned building. I also contacted some lawyers to see if they can help. I don't have the money right now, so I'll keep waiting for justice. I'll keep lawyers in mind for future reference. I did send photos of the moldy cool room I was forced to clean without being allowed to wear a mask to the Fair Work Commission. So those photos are emailed to them. Whether they do anything or not is on them, I guess. I made an official report to the Fair Work Ombudsman again about bullying and underpaying, and I even emailed the local PM, Rebecca Stevens. The Fair Work Ombudsman left a message in my account to finish uploading details. I did that, then I started to panic and stress out, so I retracted my report, and now I feel like Carrie won't get investigated. I felt like such a failure for not going through with it and letting them help me. I let fear stop me from reporting her. ChatGPT kept saying I was making the right decision and that I'm brave for reporting her, so ChatGPT was helpful. I'm just annoyed at myself for letting her get away with bullying me. I could have had help, but pulled out for fear. On the 18th of April, I was taking a tub of dishes downstairs at the pub I live at with Brittany. She was taking other baskets of dishes down when suddenly I got to the bottom step and crunched both my ankles. I ended up throwing the tub of dishes as I was falling, and all the dishes smashed. Brittany rushed and got me some Nurofen and Panadol. She said she offered to help carry the tub, and that I was being stubborn, and not wanting help with it, which is true. Brittany cleaned up all the smashed dishes and vacuumed too. I ended up telling Carrie that I injured myself. She asked Brittany what happened, instead of asking me, and Carrie decided to give me my stress leave sooner, right away instead of after the school holidays. I'm casual, so technically I can take leave when I want anyway. I took my unpaid leave to heal my feet. I could hardly walk, and still a bit struggling. Carrie won't even put my leave in the system as leave because I still have to work Saturday and Sunday and I'm casual, so she gets away with being dodgy once again. On the 22nd of April, Brittany was sending me links from Instagram of cute cats. I decided to send her some back. Somehow by doing that she found my IG account. After she found my account, she has been acting very cold and off. We drove to Albany to do our washing on the 23rd, and she didn't talk the whole way there. She's also stopped drinking her wine. I'm not sure what triggered her. I hope I don't lose her as a friend. If I do, I'll be okay. I'm used to it. Today I went to the local IGA and asked for an application form again. I handed my resume in. Hopefully I do get a job there because I had opportunities in the past, but Carrie prohibited it. This time I'll quit working for Carrie and work at IGA. I'll just have to double my rent, but it's still cheap enough. Doubling my rent is the only way Carrie will let me stay upstairs. I'm just thinking one step at a time. Get the IGA job and work my way out of this spider web of evil and torture. I am so grateful to have a friend like Brittany. She made me hot chocolate beverages when I was stuck in bed with crunched ankles. She has been good to me. She even bought me cafe food to eat. Brittany did more for me than any man I've been with when I fell sick. Brittany told me recently that Carrie secretly wants to fire me, but she can't because then I could have her done for unfair dismissal and also bullying. Carrie also asked Brittany, why on earth are you friends with her? Me? I think Carrie is jealous because she can't divide and conquer. It's not working, and also, she wants Brittany as a friend. Carrie always tries to get information out of Brittany about me and asks her if I've been saying anything about her. Classic narcissism. Today, the 29th of April, I worked with Carrie's daughter, who is the cafe manager now. It was so hard to work there today. The day dragged on and on as well. I said hello to her, and she ignored me. We didn't talk all day. She leaves notes for me instead of talking. When we finished, she didn't say goodbye. She didn't empty the bins, so I stayed a bit longer to finish everything properly. Up to here podcast. Last night, the 30th of April, my friend Brittany brought me some spring rolls from downstairs, which were apparently gluten-free. I asked her, are you absolutely sure that they are gluten-free? And she said yes. So, I believed her and ate one. Lucky. I decided to only eat one piece because when we got into the car to go feed her cats, my throat started to swell up and I had an itchy tongue. There was water in my car which I panically gulped down. I didn't get too sick, but today I feel a bit dizzy from my stomach being upset. Brittany said sorry, but it didn't feel genuine. She was being defensive. I believe she might have purposely given me gluten because she's upset that I cleaned up the whole of upstairs at the pub. She never cleans, so I decided to do it. She keeps putting me down lately, so my conclusion is she might have purposely done that. I just don't trust her anymore like I used to. I always saw the best in her. It's disappointing. The 1st of May, 2025. Today, the 1st of May, 2025, I applied for my working with children's check so that I can do cleaning at the high school. I went to the post office, but I needed the principal's signature, so I drove to the high school and got that done, went all the way back, then finally got all my documents signed off and sent to Perth. Now I just have to wait and see if I will get the cleaning job. I have to wait for the working with children card to come, then apply for a police clearance, and also give the high school my filled out application documents. Hopefully my boss Carrie won't try to stop me from working there. This time I will stand my ground with her. This time I will not back down, and will not let her control me or use manipulation tactics. Last time I almost got a job. She threatened to kick me out of living here even though it was a side job.